Good morning. My name is Daryl Davis, and I'm going to inform you of my greatest achievement. Now, my greatest achievement occurred on October 17th, 2009, and that was the day I became a father. When I was growing up, my family got divorced. Well, my parents got divorced when I was in kindergarten. And at that point, my mom asked all four of her kids, who do you want to go with? So we were looking at my dad, and we really saw that the only thing he had was an old car, and my mom had a house. So obviously, all four of her kids decided to stay with her. And at that point, my mom had full custody of us, and my dad was allowed to visit us on the weekend, or he'll pick us up on the weekend so we can visit them and spend time with them. This didn't really work out the way that it should have, because when we were growing up, my mom would tell us every time a Friday would roll around, she would tell us to call our dad. So we'll call him, and he'll tell us that he will pick us up for the weekend. And we will pack up all our clothes and get ready. We was excited to see him because we wanted to spend time with him. You know, that was our father. But he never showed up. We'll wait for 30 minutes, an hour, and then after 3 hours of waiting, we just stopped trying. We just gave up. Our mom looked at us and said, well, maybe he had better things to do besides spend time with you kids. And at that point, it really didn't hit me the way it should have, but it affected me mentally, because at that point, I was at a point in my life where I wanted to spend time with him, but he just wasn't there. And I told myself that if I ever had a son, which was a long way off, I wasn't even thinking about starting a family, that I would never do that to him. So when my mom passed away in 2002, shortly after I graduated high school, I was pretty much lost at a point in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to achieve or what I wanted to do. So I was working as a shift manager at Burger King, and I worked there for 3 years. Then I decided to join the military. Once I entered into the military, I met my wife I met my girlfriend in Korea. I married her in 2007 once I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and we've been together ever since. So even though she got pregnant, it really didn't hit me that I was going to be a father. You know, I just still consider her as my girlfriend / wife, someone I can spend time with, and someone that's my best friend. But the day my son was born was one of the happiest days of my life, because it hit me that, hey, I really have a family now. And as soon as I held him in my arms, I just didn't want to let him go. I mean, even though my wife was laying there after she gave birth, she wanted to hold her son. I just didn't want to give him up, because I loved him that much. When they say the love is instantaneous, it really is. So the one thing that I try to do with my son, who just turned 10 3 days ago, is I try my best to spend time with him and let him know how much I love him. He's spoiled rotten, because when I was growing up, I really didn't have anyone to spoil me. When I got my first job, I had to pay bills, and whenever I bought something, my mom would often have to pawn it because she had bills to pay. And that was one thing when I grew up, I realized, well, maybe being an adult is a lot harder than what it seems. And the truth of the matter is, it's hard. I try my best to make sure he has everything that he needs, and he knows I love him unconditionally. So even though my father wasn't there to pass on the wisdom that he had to me, I make sure that everything that I know, I pass on to my son, so he can be successful and have a brighter future, maybe even succeed me. And the one way I'm doing this is actually going to school to try to get my bachelor's degree. He's my main inspiration. I love him, and this is my greatest achievement in life.